Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today I'm going to introduce you to the absolutely worst eBay buyer I've encountered in my 24 years on eBay. I'm going to talk to you about the entire transaction. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to provide screenshots to back up my claims. And then I'm going to ask your opinion. Is this not the wackiest, most sadistic, screwed up eBay buyer you've ever seen? If not, I want you to comment below. But right now, let's get started with the Crazy New York Driver Show. Alright guys, Joe DeMarco here from the Crazy New York Driver Show on Friday, January the 5th, 2024. Welcome to another eBay video. This will be my first eBay video of the new year, and it's going to be a very interesting one. I'd like to start out, for those who don't really know myself or my channel, I'd like to start out by telling you guys that the incidents I'm going to depict today are not representative of the average eBay buyer. Most eBay buyers are good, honest people, and this is to highlight what you need to do as a seller if you encounter one of these screwballs. They're out there, okay? They seem to manifest themselves around the holidays. I mean, the utter hate that some people spew is absolutely beyond me. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like the holidays myself, but I would never spew hate against anybody or cause anybody any problems. That being said, let's get right into today's video. So, the main topic is my worst eBay buyer in recorded history. Now, think about your worst eBay buyer in recorded history. Maybe a guy bought your item and he said it was not as described, even though it was, and he filed a fraudulent return to get his money back. And then maybe even after doing all that, he still left you negative feedback. My guy's worse. I'm going to walk you through the incident right now. When I'm done, I want you to comment and tell me, is this not the worst eBay buyer you've ever seen? And if it's not, and if you've had one that you think is worse, I would like you to tell us about it in the comment section below. This story comes in two parts. The first part, some of you have already heard because I talked about it a few weeks ago. The second part, none of you have heard. In order, for continuity purposes, I must discuss the entire event from scratch. So let's get started. Several weeks ago, a buyer purchased an item from me on a Sunday night. It was a lot of 5 older model Plymouth hubs. I woke up Monday morning, saw the sale. I immediately boxed up the item and brought it to the UPS store Monday morning with the other items I had sold that weekend. So far, so good, no problem. That was Monday morning. Wednesday was one of our rare sunny days. Here in the Northeast, we get approximately one sunny day per week. And if we do get one, I have to stop everything I'm doing, even if I had plans, and use that time to take pictures outside. And that's exactly what I did on Wednesday. I went through my eBay recently sold items to see what had sold so I could take new pictures and sell similar of all these items. And one of the items I chose to put back up was a lot of 5 1970 Plymouth hubs. I took brand new pictures because that's what I always do. And I relisted the item Wednesday afternoon. Okay? I went to bed Wednesday and everything was fine. Wednesday night while I was sleeping, somebody purchased these 5 Plymouth hubs. Now, it did seem a little odd to me because they're not hot sellers for me. And I just sold 5 back on Monday. Now I'm selling 5 more. So I thought to myself, it could be the same buyer buying another set. But even if that was the case, it doesn't seem weird to me because it's common for people to buy 2 items for the same car like that to have one set as a backup. So it didn't concern me whether or not it was the same buyer. I didn't even look. I boxed up the items. Now remember, this is Thursday morning. I boxed up the items, took those hubs with my other shipping orders, and I took them to the UPS store. About at least 8 hours later, I get a message from the buyer saying something to the effect that he had bought the first set of hubs on Monday and never received a confirmation from eBay that he had bought them and paid for them. So he went ahead and bought the second set. And now he doesn't want the second set. He wants to cancel. I replied that it's too late to cancel. It's been over 8 hours by his own admission. I shipped the items out in the morning, provided tracking, and I told him he could return the items if he didn't want the second set. He went absolutely ballistic, absolutely COD ballistic on me, saying that it's eBay's fault for not telling him that he actually did in fact purchase the first set. He demanded that I furnish some proof that eBay told him he bought the first set. So I could see that this was not going to end very well, so I decided to give him crickets in response. The tracking numbers were both uploaded, everything was fine, I did nothing wrong. 2 weeks ago, you may remember, I did a video and I showed you where he left me negative feedback on the second set, complaining that eBay never told him he won the first set and that it was my fault for shipping them so quickly because he waited 8 hours and I said it was too late to cancel. As the video progresses later, I'll be showing you the screenshots about that, don't worry. So what I did was I used eBay's automated tool to apply for feedback removal because obviously this buyer violated eBay policy. It's not my fault he bought 2 sets. I'm willing to take a return. He didn't do due diligence because I'm sure eBay did send him an invoice saying that he paid and won the items on Monday. Even so, the second set was a whole different listing with a different listing number, different pictures, and all that, which we'll get to in a second. All right, when I used the automated tool, eBay said I'd have to wait 8 hours to get a response. I only had to wait about 6. They removed it that quickly. They said it did violate policy and, nothing would be held against me. Okay? Now, I made a video a few weeks ago telling you about this. So what happened is, on December 29th, I think it was, I wasn't selling anything. I had gone like 24 hours with no sales, which at first I attributed to the holiday. I happened to check my feedback and I get another negative from the same buyer making the same complaints that he did in the previous negative feedback. This time he left me a negative feedback on the first set that he bought, complaining that eBay never told him he won those items and that he bought a second set. So I figured I would use eBay's automated feedback removal tool and it would go right through again. They said I'd have to wait 8 hours, no problem. I waited about 12 and I didn't hear anything. I went back to the automated feedback tool and I clicked on check status. And it gave me a message that said They could not remove the feedback due to a glitch, and they wanted me to contact customer service directly. Hmm, that was weird. So I contacted concierge and I requested a call back on New Year's Eve. Now it's December 31st. Okay? Okay, December 31st, I think, is the date. New Year's Eve. So I explained to the representative what's happening. He understood perfectly and he said, listen, I cannot remove this. It qualifies for removal, but I can't do it. They took that power away from us. And he's telling the truth, because I know they did, which was a ridiculous thing to do. Shame on you for doing that, eBay. But anyway, he said he would create a report and forward it to the team that's in charge of removing feedback. Now, I knew the next day was New Year's Day, so I said, do you think it'll be removed in 24 hours? And he said, realistically, no, because we're on a skeleton crew. There's very few people working for the holiday. Give it 48 hours. Okay, that's reasonable and acceptable. I gave it more than 48 hours, and the feedback was never removed. That was strike two. Okay, I then proceeded to contact eBay for Business. I once again explained the situation to them. They got back to me within 2 hours, just asked me to verify my ID on my phone, my eBay ID, which I did, and they instantly removed it. From the moment I verified my account, I think it took them maybe half an hour to get back to me and say, this indeed violates eBay policy. We have removed it. So good job, eBay for Business. You came through once again when the other two avenues didn't work for me. Before I talk more about the feedback system and how it's antiquated, I want to go to screenshots and I want to show you the whole story I just told you in pictures, in slides, so you know that I'm straight up on everything. So let's get to that right now. All right, guys, please pay strict attention to the screen as I read off to you the two negative feedbacks. And after I read them, I'm going to show you the actual listings to show you what a lying sack of crap this person is. First one, made an offer, they didn't tell me it was accepted. Then when I clicked on the item, it was back up for sale. Well, seemingly, as they used the exact sale photos, so I bought it. Then realized they accepted my offer, bought the same set twice. When I contacted them to cancel less than 8 hours after finding out, they said they already sent. But the second set got here 3 days behind the first. So seems very doubtful that the item was already sent. You pay for shipping back, will refund, not good. The second negative feedback under it here, ended buying 2 sets, caused they used the same photos of the ones I just bought, which I had not been notified my offer had been accepted, contacted first thing the next day to let them know, delete the second sale, they said already sent but arrived 3 days after the first, so they couldn't have been sent. Now, you'll notice that he said, or he claimed, I used the same pictures. I can prove that wrong in various ways. Please note that the listings number end in number 72 and number 65 respectively. So let's take a look at them now. Here's the first one. Now with this particular set, look at the picture. You can see two very good things here. One, there's a leaf in the picture. And two, the bottom right hubcap seems to be blemish free. Okay? Now, let's look at the other listing. Totally different picture, no leaf, and the bottom right hubcap right here, look, see it has all these scratches in the center? This is proof. Now, I'm not done yet. Look at the titles. This one here says Lot of 5 Factory, whereas this one here says Lot of 5 Genuine. Nothing was duplicated. This was a whole different listing. Let's get back to the video now. I just thought you should see the proof that I wanted to furnish to you guys. All right, guys, you saw the proof. This is an open invitation to anybody watching this video to tell your story of your worst eBay buyer ever in the comment section below. I would love to see them. Please be factual, okay? If I see any that stand out as superlative, I might mention them in next week's video. Please, again, be factual. And I don't think anyone's going to beat me. I really don't. I mean, this guy's a screwball. And the weirdest part, I checked on his account, and his account says he's located in Australia. Although both times I shipped items to him, they went to California. So I'm not quite sure what to make of that. But this guy is just a miserable, miserable person. And yes, I blocked him. And this is an instance where I think eBay should allow sellers to leave buyers bad feedback, because I've proved to you what kind of a screwball this guy is. But eBay says they will never allow sellers to leave buyers negative feedback again. While I don't like it, I do understand it, because there were some sellers, like I've told you in the past, that abused it terribly. The one seller in particular who I'll never forget would leave horrible negative feedback for their buyers if the buyer left them negative feedback. I'm wondering if any of you guys ever encountered this person. This was during the early days of eBay. Let's say from 99 to around 07. I'm going to tell you what they sold. And if anybody has an idea who it was, I'm just curious. They sold what's referred to as junk jewelry. Okay? That should give you a little clue right there. I'm just wondering how many of you ever ran into this nut job. It was a woman. She would call people child molesters, pedophiles, make horrible sexual comments. I mean, things like you would never see today. And those feedbacks were allowed to stay up for years. It was so over the top that every week I would speak to one of my eBay friends on the phone, and I would say, "Did you look at so-and-so's feedback that they left this week?" And we would just talk about it. It was just plain sickening. And that's the reason why we cannot leave that's the reason why we cannot leave bad feedback for bad buyers, because there was some people that abused it. Okay, let's move on to a new topic. Crazy person of the week. Guys, I know it probably seems like I'm a real downer this week, but I've always been a straight shooter, and I believe in reporting things to you so you know how to face these situations if they happen to you. How do you handle a person that asks too many questions, and even after you answer them in a positive manner, they still won't take your answer as gospel? Check this out. Last week, a guy starts contacting me through eBay messages, asking me questions about a particular item. Will it fit? I responded, yes, it will fit your vehicle. Then he responded, I want close-up pictures of the backings to see what they look like. Now, keep in mind, I already have 12 pictures listed, and 3 of them are close-up pictures of the backings. When he said that, and when anybody asks for close-up pictures, that's an automatic block, in my opinion, because usually it means either they're too fussy with the condition, or maybe they're just slightly unhinged, or possibly both. I then blocked him, but before I did what I always do. I said, I think it's better if you get these from another seller. I'm going to send you a link of the same item I found for you so you can get them from him, and feel free to ask him as many questions as you want. Sorry, guys. That's what I do, okay? So that's what I did. I thought everything was over. Guess what he does? Anybody? He calls me on the phone on New Year's freaking day. Who does this? Judging by his voice, he has to be easily 85 years old. And he starts in with the same exact questions. Will this fit? What does the backing look like? I said to him, I answered all your questions in eBay's contact system. I said, I even went as far as to send you a link to another seller. And he said, well, I want to be sure before I buy something. I was talking to another seller about these, and he refused to answer any of my questions. Huh. Shocking. I bet you loaded him up with questions, that's why. So after taking a good 15 minutes out of my New Year's day to explain the situation to him, he said he understood and was good to go. Now here's where I may have made a small mistake. I then unblocked him so he could make the purchase. 2 or 3 days go by. He doesn't buy anything. I don't hear anything, which I thought was weird. Yesterday, he contacts me through the eBay contact system and once again starts right in with the same exact questions. Do you think these will fit my car? What does the backing look like? Oh my God. I couldn't make this up. I said to him, you're the guy who called me on the phone on New Year's Day for 15 minutes and I explained everything to you, and now you're doing it again? Sorry, not happening. Please get them from somebody else. And I went and I reblocked him again. Unbelievable? Maybe, but true. This really did happen to me. All right, other topics. I had told you guys that I was looking forward to January 2nd because I was hoping sales would go back to normal. I am disappointed to report to you that they did not go back to normal. Sales continue to be very slow in eBay Motors, and I'm wondering how you guys are doing. Have your sales increased at all since the New Year's, or are they still slow? Feel free to comment that in the comment section below. Now guys, what changes would you like to see on eBay in 2024? And what changes do you predict will be instituted on eBay in 2024? One change I'd like to see has to do with cancellations. This actually touches back on the case I showed you at the beginning of the video, where the guy, the bad buyer, admits he waited 8 hours to attempt to cancel. In what world is that acceptable? I think eBay should have a huge disclaimer regarding cancellations. And I really think it should be only 30 minutes, tops, all right? This is where eBay can be a little bit of a paradox. They say they want all good sellers to ship their items to their buyers quickly as possible. There, I agree with them, 100%. If somebody buys something from me early in the day, it's going out the same day. But the paradox comes in when these people try and cancel over an hour later. That should not be allowed, and there should be serious disclaimers against it. Also, eBay should be taking action against bad buyers. There was an interesting comment in one of my recent videos, and I'm sorry I don't remember who said it, but I was talking about having unfair negative feedback removed, and the person said something like this. He said, anytime a seller is able to get an unfair negative feedback removed that was left by a bad buyer, that unfair feedback should bounce back on the bad buyer. Those are words of wisdom. However, it'll never happen in eBay land. I can't fathom why eBay is afraid to flex its corporate muscles and stand up to bad buyers. Like I said, I'm not saying you got to sanction them the first time they do something. Everybody makes a mistake. Like Mr. Slater said, everybody deserves a second chance. Nobody deserves a third. Like the guy I just showed you, the screwball who bought the 2 sets. He left me an unfair feedback. They removed it. That's strike one. He then went back to my feedback. I know what he did. I know for a fact he went back, saw his feedback was removed for cause, and then wanted to dick me over again and left it again. That shows intent, and this is a perfect example where someone should be sanctioned. Don't hold your breath, guys. It's not going to happen. Of course, if a seller dared leave a buyer reverse positive feedback, look out, because they would do something. I don't know why eBay is scared of losing bad buyers. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they're a small fraction of the eBay populace. I'm willing to say 99.9% of eBay buyers are good, honest people. I know some of you guys are not going to agree with me, and that's your privilege. I'd like to see you come out here and say on camera exactly what you think, but again, somehow I don't think that's going to happen either. But addressing the small percentage of bad buyers, they need to be sanctioned. And I don't think it's going to happen. That's why with all these false item not as described claims, when we take returns, it's coming out of eBay's pocket when we take a deduction on these returns, okay? Hey, eBay could easily take the money out of the bad buyer's account, but they won't do it. This has been going on for some time, and I think that this is going to jumpstart a serious fee increase in the near future. And when I say near future, this year. Wait and see. No proof. Just a gut feeling I have as a 24-year seller on eBay. At this point, I still think eBay is the best place to sell your used items. There is money to be made. However, it's getting very difficult with these blasted China sellers. I go on eBay periodically to buy items, sometimes for stock, sometimes because I need stuff. I'll tell you a couple of quick stories from last night. I think you'll enjoy them. Periodically, people come to me locally wanting to buy items I don't have. Sometimes I'll tell them they can get it on eBay, but a lot of times the people don't want to do the work. They'll say they're not computer literate, or they'll say they got burned once, they bought something that was defective, or whatever their reason is. And they'll ask me to buy it for them on eBay, which I'll gladly do for a price. And let me tell you something, cute Joey doesn't work cheaply. If they're willing to pay the stipend, I have no problem buying the stuff on eBay and then flipping it to the customer locally here, which is what I do. So last night I had to go on to look for a couple of items I needed, and the first problem I encountered was the amount of China sellers. It's absolutely sick with their cheap China, plastic, poor quality garbage. I invite you to pick some of these China sellers at random in eBay Motors and look at their feedback. It's always 96% or 95%, and often there's a little notation under that that says, one of eBay's most trusted sellers. Unbelievable, but true. The only way I found to filter out this garbage is to, on the left navigation bar, click the word used, and that often gets rid of a lot of them. Although there are still some people in the USA buying this garbage, putting legitimate Nissan emblems and Toyota emblems on it, and then selling them as factory stuff, which is against the law. But that's another whole story. But what I wanted to tell you is, I needed to buy some items, so I picked out 3 or 4 items of a Toyota that I wanted and 3 or 4 items of a Nissan item that I wanted. I put them in my watch list because I wanted to research them. So let's just say, for argument's sake, this was 6 p.m. last night. I swear on my life, anywhere from about 2 minutes to 2 hours, almost all the sellers sent me best offers. I'm not kidding. This is something I noticed that always happens to me when I put my items in the watch list. They send me best offers within minutes. Within minutes. Who does this? Have you guys noticed this? I'd like to hear about it. But I've kind of kept this video long today because I had a lot of material to cover. So, that being said, I'm going to let you go. Please remember, I'm Crazy New York Driver. You're not. Thank you for watching this video. I hope 2024 brings you a lot of eBay sales. Good, honest, likable customers. I'm not like that moron I showed you at the beginning of the video. I want to see some comments. I did a lot of work on this video. Now it's your turn. Rock on and peace.